Shit, we need a cold open, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
That'll do. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon.
In these apocalyptic times.
Yes.
Yeah, who knows what time it is? We clearly lost track.
I don't even know what month it is anymore, if I'm entirely honest.
Welcome back to the doomed one-click podcrap. We would firstly like to apologise for our lack of existence over the last month. We've been busy doing literally nothing.
I just like to say, we really did pick a fantastic time to start a theme park related podcast, didn't we?
With all the fuckers were
really
closed, yeah.
perfect timing.
It's all right. We can use all of our previous trips last year as content,
And we will
just
be.
to pretend that everything's okay.
Today, however, we are going to slag off each other's top 10s. So that'll be fun. I had an idea that I haven't yet mentioned to either of them, so this will probably get edited out. But if this podcrap lasts longer than a year, then we revisit this once a year and see what's changed and what stayed the same. And we'll also
Sounds
do
like a
the
plan.
same in 2 weeks from now with our bottom 10s, because we can chat shit about them a lot easier, because those rides are truly diabolical.
Well, it might not be 2 weeks away. We might do it sooner rather than later if we have the time. It's just a case of whether we can be bothered or not.
Yeah.
So in about a month from now, we'll release...
Coming 2022.
Yes. So who wants to kick it off? Who's going first?
Are we going to start from 10 or 1?
10.
Okay.
Start
good.
from 10. All right. I'll kick it off then.
You
Are we
go.
going to do 10 each?
Yes.
And then 9 each? Okay.
I think we do it like that, yep.
As you can tell, we plan
Yes.
very
Lots
well.
of planning.
So my number 10 is Heidi the Ride at Plopsaland,
Good choice.
because it's a fantastic wooden coaster. Towards the end of the day especially, it was flying through, and having learnt the one-click trick on Wicker Man, I then applied it to Heidi, and at that moment I ascended. That was something.
I can
It
agree with
shits
a lot of
all
that.
over. It shits all over Wicker Man.
It is significantly better than Wicker Man.
Yeah, it's just so good. That's and to be fair, I'm kind of tied between my number 10 and 11, because my 11 is Anubis.
I prefer Heidi.
I think I prefer Heidi as well.
I prefer Anubis.
I can see why someone will prefer Anubis. Absolutely.
On my rankings for comparison, I've got Anubis at 21 and Heidi at 23.
I have Heidi at 14 and Anubis at 19. So they're quite close.
Yeah.
Fair enough. What about you, Jay? What's your number 10?
My number 10 is Lost Gravity
Ooh.
at Wallaby Holland.
Very good choice.
This is primarily in my top 10 due to me thinking it was going to be shit and then it absolutely blowing me away.
Yeah.
That's exactly why mine
Yeah.
is in at number 6.
It
Sorry, I'm jumping ahead. But it
Nice.
means I don't have to talk about it later on.
It was
'cause I've
my
done
sleeper hit of last year.
Yeah,
Lost
absolutely.
Gravity. I expected nothing, and then I came off it, and that's a proper top 10
I didn't
ride.
expect it to be as bad as people said, but
No.
it was so much better.
Yeah.
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 It was such a good ride, and having my first experience on it being in the God seat,
Oh, you wanker.
in the front right, that was amazing.
And it should be noted that bunny hop gives RMC a run for its money with airtime.
Oh, it does.
It's violent airtime.
Is that still in your top 10, or is that has it made its way out yet, Tom?
It's in my top 10 still. You'll find out where later on. My number 10 then, I can keep this short and sweet, is Dragon Khan. Purely for the 0G.
I have
enough.
numerous questions about that, but fair enough.
I just enjoy it. It's a really well set out ride visually, with Shambhala in the background and the nice grass and the bridge and the train and everything in the foreground. The layout's fine. It's B&M. Nah. It's smooth. People who say it's rough are just wrong.
I wouldn't say
0G,
it's smooth.
It's not smooth, but it is also like a 20-year-old B&M, so
It's
not
not.
doing bad.
It's not uncomfortably rough,
No.
but it is the roughest B&M I've done.
Yeah, it's up there, to be fair. It's not as rough as Kumba, so,
Jesus Christ.
the Kumba's bad. And
I mean, I would be able to confirm or deny that statement, but I've forgotten what it's like, and I obviously didn't get to ride it recently, so I have currently it sits at number 21 for me. So.
Yeah.
Dragon Khan is at 29 for me.
I know full well I like Dragon Khan more than is probably healthy.
Everyone has that one ride that they love for no reason.
Yeah, it's really fun. I developed an affinity for it when I was there last year, and I really enjoyed it.
So there's not enough arguing going on. We're being way too kind about this. Tom, you're an idiot and you're wrong. Right, moving on to number 9. Tyler.
My number 9 is Superman Attracción de Acero.
Bad pronunciation.
Superman Attraction de Acero.
I think it means Ride of Steel.
Yeah, it is. It's Spanish El Superman.
El Superman, yeah. It's quite a decent layout, that, for a
It looks fun.
It has that straight airtime hill, doesn't it?
That's basically the reason I think that looks like one of the best flawless is because straight drop and an airtime.
Like hill. That, is it like, I assume it's quite good airtime as well, like B&M floater
it's
sort
so
of
good.
hyper kind of stuff.
In the front row, it's ejector.
Really?
Nope.
Yeah. What I love most about it is that it is Dragon Khan, but better.
Fair enough.
Because it's, you've got the straight drop into the loop that, it basically does everything Khan does. The only major difference is the 0G roll is perfect 0G. It doesn't have as much of a snap to it.
I love that.
But it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a early mid 2000s B&M.
Yeah.
So good, so very good, and coincidentally, it is the only ride in my top 10 with over-the-shoulder restraints. Actually,
interesting.
That makes sense.
It's a good ride, and I do recommend going out there at some point for it.
Right. Right. A bit of a theme is going to start emerging now because the next 4 rides in my top 10 are all in the same park.
Are they by any chance in Cedar Point?
Yes, they are.
Is this one Magnum XL 200?
Yes!
Get in!
Who would have guessed? Yes. The big one, but good, is all I have to say about this.
Alright, fair enough.
Right, okay, it's fine. No discussion needed there.
I mean, this is what it is. It's the big one with triangle hills.
Yeah, it's the big one with filthy amounts of ejector and all-round memes, basically. I mean, it has a sloped trim. What else is there to ask for?
Yeah.
Right, Tom?
My number 9 is the one I'm expecting the most backlash for. It's Sheikra.
I can see that. It doesn't have vests, so...
No. A lot of this is nostalgia. It was one of the first big coasters I rode, and it was the first coaster I rode that really caught my eye and made me go, oh, fucking hell. And it's remained in my top 10 for nearly 10 years now.
See, I think sentimental value is a perfectly good reason to have something in your top 10.
And it's one of the better dive machine layouts that isn't a D6.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously, no vests, 2 really good drops, well integrated, that's the word, with the area.
It's quite sad because I haven't done many dive machines, and the only big dive machine I've done was Valraven, which is very far down my list due to a certain restraint type.
Ouch.
I've done 2 dive machines thus far, and it looks like it's going to stay that way for a while. But I prefer Oblivion to Valkyria because of the vests.
I can see that.
They're not locking vests like Valraven, but Valkyria, the layout is good, but the drop is killed by the vests.
In a comment that's probably going to have half of America wanting to lynch me, I prefer Oblivion to Valraven for the same reasons.
I've heard that's not a very rare opinion for people who have done both.
And I imagine because I like Oblivion so much, if I did get around to doing Sheikra one day, I will probably rank it quite highly as well.
I can.
Because it's Oblivion's drop, but huge.
Yes.
And a bit of a layout afterwards.
But this is the thing with Oblivion that kind of kills it, is it's all well and good dropping into a hole, but I prefer being really high up and having a huge fuck-off drop below you, which is why I prefer Sheikra so aggressively to Oblivion.
See, I quite like the hole.
I like it.
That's what she said.
I walked right into that one.
I've also done Oblivion the Black Hole, though, which has a better hole.
Yeah.
It's a much tighter hole, for one thing.
Okay.
And the surrounding area of the hole is much better finished off.
You're saying there's some good gardening around said hole, is what you're saying. Right, should we go on to number 8?
Yes. My number 8 is Goliath at Wallaby Holland.
Whoa.
I know that Tom loves this ride.
Oh my god.
I like it. I do like it a lot, but I didn't find it quite as good as I thought it would. As I thought I would. It was good.
Yeah.
But like, aside from the first hill and the last 2 hills, it was a bit. We're going around in circles.
I quite like the Stengel dive.
And the Stengel dive. The Stengel dive was good actually. But I think I was a little bit unlucky because I had, for both of the rides that we had, I think I was on a wheel seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did have a bit of a rattle.
A little bit.
Yeah. But like, I can look past that because it was still good. Yeah. However,
I can see what you mean.
Prefer...
But the middle of the ride is a little bit
it's basically
chaffy,
what it is a B&M Hyper layout with force.
Yeah.
Except I've got a B&M Hyper higher up.
That's the. Oh no, I don't actually.
Oh no, Shambhala is just below Goliath for me.
Yep, literally the same.
Yeah, Shambhala I've got at number 5, but we'll get to that in a moment.
Fucking spoilers, man.
Right, let's do a quick fire here, because these are all in the same part. Number 8, I have Maverick. Number 7, I have Top Thrill Dragster, and number 6, I have Millennium Force.
Ooh, Millennium Force above Dragster.
Yes,
That's offensive.
I quite liked
you said
it.
Millennium Force at number 5.
Millennium Force is at number 6.
6.
That's
interesting.
Fair enough.
Knowing you, I'd have thought you'd prefer Maverick.
As I did until I rode a certain other coaster at Cedar Point, and Maverick kind of went down a bit for me.
Yeah,
right.
I can imagine.
Fair enough.
Until said coaster at Cedar Point, Maverick was above Millennium Force.
Mm.
Okay.
But yeah, Millennium Force is just, it's a bit like Goliath, but you get raped by speed.
And mosquitoes.
And tunnels, and insects. Yes.
That's thrown my keeping track of everything.
I've got
there.
it. I'm alright,
Okay.
I've still got it. Right, my number 8 is Furious Baco.
Oh,
Yes.
Right. Yes, Baco is good. Baco is very good.
It's got one of the best launches I've ever experienced on a ride. I think the only one that beats is Taran's second launch.
I feel like I should move Furious Baco up my rankings a bit, actually.
People moan that it's rough, and it is. It's really fucking rough.
It's got character.
It's got character, yeah. The layout is fantastic. The terrain interaction is fantastic. That inline twist is fantastic. The run over the lake is fantastic. How it all looks with the rest of the park behind it is fantastic. Yeah. It's a good ride.
I do agree with that, exactly.
And it is the best wing coaster in the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you count Skyrush.
I don't count them as true wing
I
coasters.
would count Skyrush.
In which case, then yes, it's definitely the best wing coaster.
I love Baco as well, but mine's at number 12.
Oh.
Yeah, Baco is
sacrilege.
Baco has just missed out on the top 10. It's at number 11 for me.
Oof.
Yeah. So does that mean I'm doing number 7?
It does mean you're doing number 7.
Lovely. Icon.
Ooh.
Ooh. Interesting.
Wait, I just realised why it's in your top 10. Is it in your top 10 for one very specific reason, Tyler?
No. It is part of the reason. The track tap is indeed part of the reason it is in my top 10. However, because it's the best ride in the UK and it's Baby Helix, I love it.
True. It is very re-rideable. Very, very.
It is immensely re-rideable, I'll give it that. It's got a few fun spots.
If it had better launches, it would be a lot higher up for me.
Yeah, the launches are a bit of a... I think it's the knowledge, I said it the other day on Twitter or something, it's the knowledge that the launches could be good.
Yeah.
But the fact the train only parks on the first launch with 2 cars over the station...
I don't think it would be very good. I don't think it would be very good even if it did.
It wouldn't be very good, but it would be a hell of a lot better than the damp fart it is now.
It would have at least a bit of a kick.
Yeah, I do admit the launch... It's a little bit weird.
Also, I'm not a fan of that weird forced off-axis hill at the end, and it doesn't flow at all.
That off-axis hill is one of the worst elements I've ever experienced ever, just because it's so forced, it's so counter what your body wants to do.
If that was just a straight hill, it would improve that layout so much.
It would have ejector.
Well, yeah. Great. It would be that final pop of ejector before the brakes, basically. And,
yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, if it were like a twisted S hill or something.
Yeah, even if it was just a standard, That or it just pulls lats and like awkward lats. It's weird.
It's not comfortable.
No.
Yeah. The rest of the ride though.
Rest is
It's all right.
yeah, nice.
Fine.
And the fact that it's probably out of my top 10, it's probably the easiest one to get to.
You do have to go to Blackpool though, which is a crying shame.
It's also the last coaster I rode in 2020.
Yeah.
It's also the last coaster I rode ever.
Yeah, pretty much. What was your 7 again, Jay? Just,
A Top Thrill Dragster was my number 7.
Cool. We all know why that's a good ride, let's be honest.
Yeah.
My 7 is one we've covered. Ooh.
Covered.
My 7 is one we've covered already. Lost Gravity.
Yeah.
That's my
same
7.
reasons.
It's just fun.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's mental.
While we're on Lost Gravity, it's my number 6. So.
Oh, there we go.
There we are. That knocks that out.
We all
Your
have
number
Lost
6.
Gravity in our top 10. That's very interesting.
Your number 6 was Millennium Force, correct, Jay?
Yes, it was.
And Tom?
Olympia Looping.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm assuming 2017 Olympia Looping.
2017 Olympia Looping, not 18, not 19, because they were both a bit crap. But in 2017, at night, that thing was mental.
It's quite interesting because Olympia Looping is now a defunct coaster.
It's as good as fucked, yeah, to be honest.
It's going
I'm not
straight to
expecting
Mexico.
To see that again. Yeah. Gonna get Quimered into a
Quimered. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
The thing is, as much as it is a shame, they nerfed it. The new wheels they put on it ruined it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It used to be... 2017 was fast, it was forceful, it was smooth, the restraints were as shit as they are now.
2017, Olympia Looping would be my number 4 right now.
2017, it would be probably my number 10. However, now it's my number 14. So it's not gone far.
Olympia Looping is my number 15.
I prefer it to Smiler.
Yeah, I prefer it to Smiler too.
I don't. Right, we are in the top 5.
Yes, Tyler, your number 5.
My number 5 is Shambhala.
Excellent choice.
The perfect floater, back row is amazing, for, fantastic views. I just love Portaventura as a park as well. Yeah. Like every hill is like there isn't a dead spot on the layout aside from maybe the top of the ampersand, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the floater they've put into it is pristine. Especially if you ride smack bang in the middle of the train, you just float over the whole hills. They are
However, I am certainly a back row rider.
Yes,
I do like being yonked over. Over the drop. That is where it's at. I don't know whether that would have changed this year because the last time I rode it was 2018. I think
it probably would have done.
I imagine it probably would have dropped a couple of places, but until then,
I think it would have.
Yeah, I'm still basing it off my last experience, which was 2018, and that was...
Well, my last experience on Shambhala was at 1:30 in the morning while completely drunk. So, yeah, it's still quite high for me.
Shambhala Night Rides is pinnacle.
Oh, God, yeah, absolutely.
Pinnacle roller coaster. It's so relaxing, and looking out on your right-hand side at the park lit up really nicely as you're
just don't look to the left.
200 foot. Don't look over at the left. The left is filthy.
The chemical plant might explode. You might get hit by a bit of concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is nighttime Shambhala is
glorious.
Very nice.
It is very, very good. And it's even nice to just look at as well.
It's a very, very cleverly designed ride.
Yeah.
The skyline with Dragon Khan as well behind it.
Well, and the way they've done it, because it's deliberate, because Dragon Khan is China, and then Shambhala in the background is the Himalayas. That's how it's
But then at the same time,
designed.
when you're in Mediterranean, which is pretty much the only other area of the park where you can see it somehow, it's like the Alps in the background.
Yeah, it works as like the mountain range.
It is such a ridiculously intelligently designed coaster, which Portaventura are yet to repeat with shit like that water slide. And
something like a hypercoaster is really hard to integrate into sort of a themed park and make it part of the integration.
Honestly, talking about Shambhala is making me a bit sad.
Yeah,
so let's move on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jay, what's your number 5?
Right, 3 of my top 5 are from a certain manufacturer, and this is the first one. It is Twisted Colossus at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Mainly when it was racing. If it wasn't racing, it would not be anywhere near my top 10. But a racing ride on Twisted Colossus is god tier, absolute god tier. Yeah,
it looks fun. It looks very fun.
Pretty much all I have to say. But yeah, it's not the strongest airtime of the lot, but it's good. And when you've got that inverted stall and there's a train above you full of people, it's fucking brilliant.
I can see that.
I'm sure Tyler's probably quite sad about that too. Ooh.
Moving swiftly on.
You're not going to like my number 4, Tyler?
My number 5's Shambhala.
Oh, dear.
Right, you're number 4, Tyler.
I'm just... mine.
Here we have a stroke. Look at him go.
What is it?
I want to... can we get J's over with first? Because I know it's X2.
It's X2. Yes.
Yeah.
Alright, moving
on. Poor Tyler.
That's all I need to know. It's X2, fair enough. My number 4 is Balder at Liseberg.
That's quite high.
That is very high.
Respectably high, but...
It's a fantastic ride, especially at night when it's overspeeding.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, alright, fair enough.
I rode it with Dan, Antti and Dom.
Yes.
So there were 4 of us all riding that together, and we competed to see how much lap bar room we could get.
Oh boy. At Liseberg, that's a lot.
Antti and I managed 2 fists of room each. And it's at night, it was the best ride I've had on Balder.
Yeah.
Like, it flies over those hills. You even get a bit of force on the turns.
Wow.
Admittedly, when it's running like most of the time in the day, they're a little bit dead.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't my favourite ride until my second visit. Well, it wasn't a favourite ride until my second visit. But it went straight up in my rankings. And again, it's a back row ride because of the drop, and especially at night as well.
Is the drop really that good?
The drop is so good.
Oh, interesting.
It's T-bars and a twisted...
I never see that drop pulling much airtime.
In the back row, it really does.
Right.
You kind of... The train just disappears from below you, but you're still being pulled to the left, and then you're going down.
Interesting. Yeah.
Okay, that's quite good.
It is a good ride. And very smooth as well. I
hope
wasn't
so.
expecting it to be as smooth as it was, because it's the first prefab I've done. So, but yeah, very, very good. Tom, how about you? What's your number 4?
I have another repeat visit. Goliath is my number 4 at Wallaby Holland.
Oh, that is very high.
Yeah, it's another one of those, right? There are 3, maybe 4 rides in my top 10 that are pretty much there just because I really like them and I can't figure out why. Because there is, as soon as you get past the Stengel dive, between the Stengel dive and the bunny hops at the end, there's not much going on.
Yeah.
But I think the feeling of going so fast, so close to the ground, whilst being so free with a T-bar, that kind of does it.
Yeah.
That'll do me. I don't know. I just really enjoy it. In my eyes, the layout on Shambhala is better, which is my ride just below it. But the airtime on Goliath is better, and the trains on Goliath are better.
Yeah, that's exactly the same. It's further down on the list for me, both of those, but that's my exact same opinions between the two.
But that's why Goliath is higher. It's got better airtime, it's got better trains.
Yeah.
Interestingly, mine's the other way around. So Shambhala is 1, 2, 3 places above Goliath.
Yeah. Because
I prefer the trains on Shambhala, I prefer the restraints on Shambhala, and I prefer the airtime on Shambhala. I prefer the layout of Shambhala as well. It's just everything. I would choose Shambhala over Goliath any day.
Fair enough. You can be wrong. That's fine. What's your number 3, though?
My number 3 is Untamed.
Oh, here we go. We're getting into the big boys now, aren't we?
Yes.
God, I love Untamed.
Untamed would be my number 1.
If it wasn't for the shin guards.
If it didn't have those bloody shin guards, They are so painful. They're horrific. They fold your legs into angles that your legs shouldn't be folded at. I got cramp on the brake run.
Yeah.
And let's face it, we rode that a lot.
We rode that a few times. My thighs were bruised for 10 days after our trip.
I had actual bruises.
Yeah, no, so did I.
My thighs were fine. It was my shins where I got the bruises.
Yeah.
Because that's where I felt all the airtime.
The primary restraint for you is on your shin, which I wouldn't want to imagine, to be honest.
No.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
How, on the day, it was my number 1 because I was just so taken aback with how much airtime some Alan could pack into that layout.
Basically, what we're saying here is, Alan, lad, fix your restraints.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a sort of a conspiracy theory that I've been peddling since I rode Untamed. is RMC does not employ a single engineer of any kind.
I'm starting to think the same. I think primarily, I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure the only reason RMC is as good as they are now is because they've purely winged it and somehow got away with it. I'm convinced.
Yeah. It's what they have. They have all of the engineering stuff, as it were, i.e. the people who fabricate the track and the trains. And they have Fred and Alan sitting upstairs in an office on like SketchUp or some shit saying, "No, this looks all right."
In a white tank top and shorts.
In paint.
Yes.
They're on paint. That's what they're doing. So I want a hill here and a hill here, just all hills. That one looks a little bit twisted. Well, let's twist it then.
Someone comes to Alan with an element suggestion and he's like, "Can we put airtime on it?" And if the answer is yes, it goes in. Yeah. I think that's pretty much how it works.
I tell you what, the surprise of Untamed... I'll spoil it now, Untamed is my number 3 as well.
It's my number 3 too.
There we are. The big surprise for me of Untamed was the 270-degree double inverting corner stool.
You mean the Lagoon Wave?
As some people call it, the Lagoon Wave, yeah. The fact that you just float through the whole of that.
It's glorious.
From the moment you start rolling to the moment you right yourself up the other way, having been upside down twice and on the outside of a curve, you're just floating the whole time, and it's fantastic.
Although, I will say, this ride disappointed me a lot on my first ride, because it was early morning, and it was barely any stronger than Icon in terms of airtime.
Yeah. Come the end of the day, however...
Jesus Christ, that thing sped up, like...
Come about 2 o'clock, it was my number 1.
I'm convinced, like, RMCs have a serious issue with overspeeding, like all of them do, and Untamed is a shining example of that. Because it went from
Steve, it fucking crashed.
Like, crawling into the brakes in the morning to slamming straight through them onto the fucking turn in the evening. It was insane stuff.
It was fantastic.
It was a good ride. So, number 2.
Yes, I think we have similar number 2s across the board.
I think it's all the same. Is it Taran?
Yes, it is.
So, for long-time listeners of the podcast will know that we went out to Vintage Land on a whim for a day.
It was a big
podcast. We've got the same 3 people listening to us.
It's only 3 people.
And
hi, Jamie.
Hi, Harry and Lucy.
So I spent years, pretty much since Taran opened, underhyping it.
Yep, same.
Not because I thought, it'll make me think it'll be better when I actually do ride it, because I genuinely thought it'd be crap.
Yep.
It's just same. And then we rocked up and rode it, and holy fuck.
Oh dear God.
It's quite good.
What Taran did is solidify the new gen Intamin train as my favourite ride vehicle of all time.
Oh my God, new gen Intamin trains.
Yeah, same.
Oh, they're so good.
Yeah.
They are so open. Yeah, that's about it. They're open, they're raised heart lines, they're comfortable, they're perfect. That's it. The ride itself has airtime where there shouldn't be airtime. Lateral transitions suddenly are ejected upwards.
There's that one transition, I've forgotten where it is, but you know it when you hit it, and it is just the most
I know exactly what one it is. It's the
thing.
one about halfway through the second half, just after that positive G overbank. Suddenly you're going from one side to the other, and you feel like you should be somewhere up in orbit because of the kind of airtime you just
There's
got.
only 2 things I would change on Taran, and that is the S-bend section is a bit slow and meandery.
Yeah, a little bit.
And I
think had they just added a little bit more rock work around that.
Yeah, or given it a close shave. But the other point is, I understand why the trims are there, because they literally have to be. But what I would say in a counterpoint to that is to make the airtime hills after them a bit sharper, so they pull some good force.
It could have done with I think the reason it wasn't profiled to give good airtime, at least the first hill, the second hill's alright.
Yeah.
But the first hill is profiled in such a way because there is track and a station and
they
path
had to clear a lot of things.
They couldn't do anything else.
Yeah.
And they couldn't really go up because it would have fucking stalled.
Like, in terms of layout design, it's a masterpiece, the way they've incorporated into the area.
Yeah. And a moment of appreciation just for the sound of the second launch.
Yes.
Yes.
And
that is...
it was either our last ride or our last but one, but it was pouring down with rain. It was going ridiculous speeds, and there was like this fire show going on in the background.
The Chiapas fire show.
That was such a good ride.
That is the best ride on Taran I've ever had.
Yeah.
It was so good.
I'm shooting for Winter Tram this
honestly,
year.
Tom,
Winter Tram.
I'm surprised Taran didn't fall down on your ratings when you went back.
No, it was running just as good.
Right.
Genuinely.
Wow.
I mean, he rode it in like pretty much the same conditions.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it was even a little bit of a moist rail as well.
Oh,
it
wow.
rained a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. It was fast.
Yeah.
And I had my night rides again, and they're still spectacular. It solidified it at number 2, if anything, when I went back. People who say Taran is not as good as Icon are wrong.
People who say Icon is better than Taran are very wrong.
It's a bad opinion.
Taran is Icon, but so much better.
There's a special space in my basement for people that think that.
Moving on.
Yes, Tyler, you're number 1, if you would.
My number 1 is Helix.
That's nice. Jay, you're number 1.
Oh.
No, do go on.
No, I'm not gonna now.
It's fine by me.
My number 1 is the Clown Coaster at Oakwood in Wales.
Excellent choice.
Just kidding, it's Steel Vengeance.
Yep, that checks out. Mine is Tiger. Now we'll look back to Tyler because, you know.
Indeed, I can perfectly understand why Tiger is your number 1, because
So can I.
It's Helix and Taran mixed together.
Yeah, whilst someone was sniffing glue. It's ridiculous.
It's one that I certainly want to go and ride, but like just basing it off my knowledge of Helix, it's.
We were gonna ride this year.
We were, yeah. Bottoms.
Stop. Helix, the way it's set into the hillside, the soundtrack, even like, whilst I prefer the Intamin trains, the Mac ones are really good as well. Like I feel I'm the right sort of build for them. I don't feel like I'm drowning in the seat, unlike you, Tom, because you're small.
Drowning in the seat. That's a term.
It's just I can't get over how well designed the layout is on the Helix. It's so good. There isn't a dead spot at all.
Which is quite impressive considering the terrain they had to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I can even put it into words because it's...
Wait, where was Helix for you again?
Number 1.
Oh, yeah, we're talking about number... Never mind, carry on.
We've spent the last, 45 minutes not playing Call of Duty and talking about our top 10s from 10 to 1. We're now on number 1. No, your confusion is because I understand exactly why Tom has Tiger at number 1.
Oh, yeah, you were talking about Helix, yeah.
Fairly similar opinions on things, and because Tiger is Helix and Taran mushed together, I know I will love it if I ever get to ride it.
Yeah, same.
And like it works the other way around. Like you will enjoy Helix.
Yeah.
I do have one thing over both of you though.
You do.
Your number 1s aren't falling down.
To our knowledge. Go on, brag about Steve.
I could talk about it for the rest of my life, but all I can say is just go and ride it because, quite frankly, it isn't overhyped, even though everyone says it is. It's impossible to overhype. You can't overhype it. Go there, ride it at night, and descend.
My one reservation about Steve is the shin guard.
Yeah, you might struggle a bit, but like you say, I'm in that sweet spot for RMCs where my shin's sort of an inch away and don't touch it. So, yeah, if you're fat like Tyler, I would watch out. Sorry, big boned. We're being politically correct.
Yes.
Just because you're both vertically challenged.
You're horizontally challenged. Lard, fucking hell.
Right, I'm leaving. That's it.
That was quite harsh. No. I do apologise.
Join us in 2 weeks where we go over the bin juice that lies within the bottom of our list.
Oh boy.
It's going to be a horrible episode.
It's going to be quality.
It's going to be a filthy half hour.
I'm looking at my bottom 10 now. This is a mess.
Because we care about you, our listeners so much. We have missed out on 25 minutes of happy hour now, so we're going to go and do that, and we'll see you when we see you. All right. Goodbye.
I really should have never got these people playing Call of Duty. They're addicted now, and it's quite worrying.
It's alright.